Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today, I wanted to look at a destroyer from a line that I haven't really done a lot with. And this is the Visby, the Tier 5 Swedish destroyer. Now, yes, I know it says Pan-European, but it's a Swedish destroyer. And you can see it, there's that Swedish flag on top of it. You see, looks like IKEA. So, what is... The Swedish Navy was existing, but given that Sweden, contrary to my Hearts of Iron 4 playthrough, actually has not participated in the Second World War, but actually managed to be neutral all the time, their navy was mostly there in order to, ensure that neutrality and defend their coastline and these sort of things. So the Visbys were a class of destroyers that was built in the 1940s. And they actually survived the war because, once again, not on account of not actually fighting, and were in the, I think in the 1960s, rebuilt as frigates and had their guns removed, most of their torpedo tubes removed, and were refitted with anti-submarine rockets and actually helicopter landing pads. So these definitely got a second life in the later half of the 20th century before they were eventually decommissioned. But yeah, the Pan-European destroyer line are sort of, well, what everybody thinks is, well, great AA on these things. Not so much on the Visby. Let's have a very quick look what these things can do. It's the hit points are not great. I mean, it's your 5 destroyer, so you're not expecting not a large amount of armor. But the speed is very, very good, with 41 knots base speed. She does get the 120mm Bofors guns, so they are not doing an awful lot of damage. And we get 2 single guns and 1 twin turret, so for a grand total of 4 of them. It's definitely not a gunboat. And the torpedoes, in the traditional, well, European destroyer manner, really don't do a lot of damage, but they and we don't get a lot of them either. But they do reload quickly. They have a good range of 6.9 kilometers. They are pretty quick, and they have a 33% chance of flooding, which means that the primary way of dealing damage here is permafloods. Now, a permaflood on a mid-tier battleship is going to net you probably somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 points of damage. So that's nothing to sneeze at. But compared to, say, the Japanese torpedoes, for example, you don't have the alpha damage with torpedoes. So this is not a ship where you rush an enemy ship and hit it with torpedoes. The AA is pretty much non-existent, although, once again, mid-tier destroyer, not many of them have that. And the surface detection of 5.88 is not bad either. We do still get the engine boost ship skill, and that's about it. So none of the defensive AA or anything like that quite yet. Now, is this a good ship? Yes, it's actually quite fun. And the reason it's quite fun is because it's fast. So what I've set it up with is the main battery mode 2, because the one thing you get from this very, very high flooding chance is an opportunity to set some fires. And even though the 120 mils aren't great at that, you get the occasional perma fire, or you can trigger the fire first and then do some flooding afterwards. I have the propulsion mod because the rudder is responsive as is, and I've actually the propulsion mod 2 for better speed. And that, together with the engine boost, actually makes this a relatively quick Tier 5 destroyer. I've actually got upgraded my commander. I haven't done that yet. Nothing really spectacular here so far. I have the battlefield support in anticipation of the defensive AA skill that we get in higher tiers. But preheating, a defense expert, even though, once again, we can't really use that quite yet. And I'll have to look. I'm generally in destroyers. I often take the Daredevil, but I haven't really made up my mind yet for this one. Survivalist is not really a super useful skill on a destroyer, because you're not gonna get a large number of absolute hit points back anyway. So I'm probably, yeah, let's just do the Daredevil. All right, done. That's that. Unless one of these gets a rapid reload, then I have to reset it. I haven't paid attention. Let's have a quick look. Maybe I just messed that up. Holland. No, it doesn't. So it's all good. And it actually gets an additional repair kit. So that's also good to know. Right. Tier 5, no historical camo. So we'll be sailing out with the Seaborne Assault. And have I forgotten something? Yes, I think I've forgotten the elite bonus. You can get slightly faster torpedo reload, which isn't dreadful. But the destroyer modernization actually gives you more speed, which is once again something that's really, really good. And once again, we have a 41 knots base speed for a tier 5 destroyer. That is not bad. Anyway, now that we're at it, let's get into some games and see if... I mean, tier 5 is kind of... I would have said flyover. How should we call that? Grind over country in the tech tree? Sort of. Like, nobody stays there, right? And I'm not gonna. I mean, once I've got enough, and I think I already have enough XP for the next one, then there are no interesting battle honors, because none of this gives resources. The shipyard resources start at tier 7, so until tier 7 I generally just, toss it and move on. But I'd still find it interesting to see what these things can do in mid-tier, because, you do have to play them a little bit to get across them. Anyway, let's do this. And one of the obvious advantages of being in a very, very fast destroyer in tier 5 is that if you're landing in the infamous Golden Channel, you're going to have an early cup. We are up against the Congo, and Agincourt, Bretagne, Furutaka, Omaha, Douguet, Trouin, and the Clemson. So just one cruiser, actually just 3 cruisers, and one destroyer on the enemy team, and I'm pretty sure I'm faster than the Clemson. So let's give this a good try and see how this ends up. Agincourt, obviously, you gotta be really careful, because if these things got high explosive loaded, they can one-shot destroyers at this tier. Full health destroyers, that is. I've done that. So it's quite funny. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for getting the torpedoes on a narrow spread, getting the guns aligned, because they're taking a while, and doing 46.7 knots in a tier 5 destroyer. This thing is really, really quick. So just zipping around the map in mid-tiers compensates a lot for the lack of damage potential that these things have, because you will struggle to do like huge amounts of damage in these things, but they are very, very good for map control and for being where you want to be. So we've got this captured, and there comes one of the enemy cruisers. What is it? Okay, it's the Frenchman. So some torpedoes in his direction, because he's sailing forward and he hasn't seen me yet. Now there is 2 of them in the capture circle. And once I'm spotted, I'm going to start opening up. But for now, I prefer not to be shot at by that thing if I can avoid it. Yes, please turn into my torpedoes. And he takes 2 torpedoes and no flood. Okay, lucky there. And there's the Furutaka as well, but I think the that French cruiser has overstayed his welcome and is now a very, very dead French cruiser. Because unlike, and there's the Clemson as well, unlike normal games, everybody seems to go into the capture circle. So this is very, very strange to me. Anyway, let's head back, and I think these Clemson torps. I'm not sure. I'm going to take 1 because I didn't see those coming. But that's okay. They didn't do a huge amount of damage. And the Clemson is dead as well. So that gets us 2 kills ahead pretty quickly. Drop some torpedoes in the general direction of the Furutaka, and we've got the capture circle under control. So now I can, sail around the outside and bully the enemy battleship line a little bit. Because once again, and I think the Furutaka has decided not to run into my torpedoes, but in return is giving broadside to everybody. And yeah, like I said, no, you can use the speed to your advantage of being where you want to be. And now that Agincourt has damage to single fire, once my torpedoes are reloaded, that's a perma-flood waiting to happen. Because from this distance, I'm going to find it pretty hard to miss. Now I do need to watch out, because that Furutaka is gotten out of there alive, actually. Let's see if we can set fire on the Congo. Congo seems to be burning merrily as well. Maybe we get another perma if we get lucky there. We've lost 2 ships of our own now, but there's the perma-flood on the Agincourt. And I think I'm not sure if I got a torpedo hit on the Congo, but I now have Furutaka problems. Now Furutaka is a dangerous cruiser. It's a heavy cruiser actually, so that's a fire on that thing. Can I get my torpedoes in? He is trying to torpedo me, not use his guns, which is actually to my great advantage. But he definitely knows not to sail in a straight line, so I'm sending these out a little staggered. And that's a fire from the Furutaka, don't care. And I think that is the world's luckiest Furutaka, because if he had continued that turn that he was about to do and not run into the Congo, he would have gone straight into my torpedo. So the Furutaka actually gets to live this, which is rather unfortunate. I would have preferred if he hadn't, but given that we've been holding the capture circle, even though we're even on kills now, we're ahead. The chaser takes out Furutaka. I'm just going to outrun these torpedoes because they're never going to hit me. I'm too fast for that. Yeah, because we have been controlling the capture circle. Things have been going our way. Now we need to finish that Congo off, and yes, I've seen that there's a battleship behind me. Yeah, there's a Britannia, and he's shooting at me. But once again, I am actually a lot faster than he's used to, because not many destroyers are that quick. And he is continually missing, so I can do things like, you know, just casually broadside the Frenchman, because as you can see, his shots are falling wide behind me. Now, is he turning? Does he know that I'm going to torpedo him? And okay, he's getting closer. I took out one of my gun turrets, so let's drop some torpedoes in his general direction. I am banking on the fact that he's not dodging torpedoes. Now he's no longer paying attention to me, because he can't hit me anyway, as we have just determined. We are way ahead on points, so as long as we're not all dying. And I think that Danae is about to try to commit suicide by battleship, because even that's a French battleship, and the Britannia is probably the worst tier 5 ship in existence. Giving broadside like that, even against the Britannia, is not healthy. And I don't think the Danae has sufficient torpedoes to take out the Britannia like that. So unless he's got a fuel smoke ready, this is gonna hurt. And there goes the second torpedo spread, so that was some good damage against the Britannia, who's got his engine now knocked out, but that's an ex-Danae, because sailing broadside onto 340mm main guns isn't great. But the Britannia is the last ship alive, and whatever's sitting in the capture circle, as long as it doesn't die, and I'm not dying to it, we should be good to go. So I do have to be a little bit careful, but I think whatever battleship we have there in the capture circle is helping out with firing as well, and I don't know where exactly the Britannia is aiming. No, he's not shooting at me, he's shooting at the enemy battleship. Perfect. I don't think my torpedoes are still going to land there, but I'm just going to send them anyway. And can I get the kill? I think I deserve that kill. There it goes. Okay, Britannia is dead, and that is game. And the win goes to the Giulio Cesare. And unsurprisingly, that is an excellent tier 5 battleship. I like that thing. So yeah, you're not going to be doing the huge damage numbers necessarily in the Visby. That's not what this thing is for. So if you want to do extreme damage numbers, then get yourself a Japanese destroyer at mid tier. But what this thing is for map control, for zooming around, for getting capture circles, and for exploiting opportunities. So let's do that again. And this time around, we're in a carrier battle against Ryujo, Arizona, König, Auber, a Molotov, a Graf Spee, and a Jaguar, the French tier 5 destroyer, who is probably a lot slower than I am. Because while the French destroyers are renowned for speed, it doesn't start until tier 8 when that actually happens. Alright, straight, which means we can actually engine boost into C and then skirt over and capture B as well. And then just see what happens from there on. So line the ship up, full speed ahead, and once we are good and ready, 46 knots, and off we go. Okay. Something's shooting over there, but hasn't managed to get them spotted. In mid tiers that you see that quite a bit, even in higher tiers, that people actually will start opening up with their guns at the beginning of the battle because they don't understand how the spotting mechanics work. But yeah, there's one cruiser, unsurprisingly, coming this way. There's an Auber, there are two cruisers actually. So definitely more opposition than I'm willing to deal with. Okay, it's the Graf Spee and the Auber, so let's dunk some torpedoes in their general direction and then make ourselves scarce and head over to B-Cup, because while the engine boost is off, we're still doing a very decent amount of speed. So Auber seems to be running into my torpedoes mostly. Yep, he does. Not a great amount of damage, but has caused the flooding, and I am about to grab myself B-Cup. Now, unfortunately, the Auber is out of range, so I'm going to start fighting the Graf Spee and see if we can do something about him. There is a battleship on the enemy team coming down this way as well. He's got the same idea that I did. He's got fighter support. I'm not sure what for because no one's targeting him. But regardless, we have now captured B and we've lost C Cup again because yeah, there's just obviously a lot of the enemy team. Now the Graf Spee does have torpedoes, so I do have to be a little bit careful. And I think he is just in the turn here, so he's probably going to... yeah, he's gone. He just started turning, so he's going to out-turn me. And I'm also getting shot at from that battleship on the rear. So I think my welcome here I have overstayed. And it's time to turn the ship around and get out of here. Unfortunately, no flood on the Graf Spee, so if we can set a flood now, it's not going to be a perma, but he's once again not really paying attention. So we can sail next to him, donk some torpedoes, and then get the heck out of here. And yes, I've seen that battleship, and no, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to run here and see if I can get a perma flood on the Graf Spee. Oh, okay, the Graf Spee has noticed that I'm here, but he's got his... so I do have to wiggle the ship a little bit. He does have his mine guns probably turning the other way. He's in the turn, so I'm going to send him this way. So, unless he does a full turn, he's probably going to run into these. Ah, yes, he's been trying to torpedo me, bless his soul. But yeah, I'm a little bit faster than that, my friend. And that's... was that still a permafire? Probably, but I think he just managed to dodge the torpedoes. So, while we're doing a bit of fire damage... Okay, that extremely eager battleship that's behind me, let's deal with him then. The carrier's helping out as well. So if you're playing with a carrier and the carrier can, you know, do some... Is he helping out? No, he's not actually. I thought he was. The carrier can set some floods or fires, and then you observe a Damacon. That's a great thing. Okay, is that Arizona? Is gonna die, right? Yeah. Okay, Arizona is dead. Graf Spee is sitting in there, and yeah, we are in a Swedish destroyer, but we're not. Our AA is not going to be doing anything. But what we can do is we can grab C Cup again, because the Graf Spee, in his brawl with our Fuso, and he's not he's sailing too far away, has vacated C Cup, so I can grab that again. And it looks like the destroyer, the friendly destroyer on the other side, is having the same idea around B Cup. I have to not to be too fast to actually sail out of the capture circle. Okay, got that. And the König has run into an island, which has been unfortunately placed. I know, somebody puts these islands everywhere, I don't know. But I think that König is dead, because that's an Akasta coming from behind, and torpedoes coming from my direction as well. And I'll just leave the carrier and the Graf Spee. So, the Graf Spee seems to have won the battle with the Fuso. So no Rufflestomp battle, no Rufflestomp medal for us. But it still leaves the carrier, so we can engine boost this way. And... there's the carrier. Okay, so he's went all the way to the map border, and the Furutaka is coming with us. Now, the Furutaka is battling the Graf Spee, but even though you're in a heavy cruiser, you don't want to give broadside to a Graf Spee. These things hurt. And he's coming under air attack. But yeah, I'm not seeing the chances of that Furutaka to be too great. He has managed to dodge the torpedoes, but he's still giving broadside to a Graf Spee, and that thing's nasty. And is he gonna die? I think he's gonna die. Yeah, Graf Spee takes him out. Okay, and leaves the Ryujo, and I never know which way these things are facing. Okay, he's actually sailing the other way. So that's the front, and that's the rear. Okay, he's sailing this way, and has he run into the map border? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if he's going half speed or run into the map border, so I'm going to drop one torpedo spread this way, and if he did run into the map border and is actually speeding up now, I'm going to drop the other one ahead of... Yeah, I think he just ran into the map border, so I'm going to drop the other one ahead, and now we're just, you know, farming that poor carrier here. Friendly carrier is also dropping too short, I think. Yeah, he dodged those, but there's some more torpedoes coming in that he's not going to dodge. And why are these only 2? I'm not sure. There should have been 3 for all I care, but anyway, he is flooding, and I am just racking up a little bit of damage, so that should be game, and there it goes. So yeah, the main feature of this thing is the speed, and because it's mid-tier, and you can just be zipping around the map, a lot of people will not easily get the range and the bearing on you, and a lot of shots will actually miss. You're not going to do an amazing amount of damage, but it's not also bad if you can, you know, time your torpedoes. It's often worth just firing one spread of torpedoes and not both at the same time, such that if you manage to cause a flood with the first one, they Damacon, and then after 10 seconds the Damacon is on cooldown, and then you get the second spread in. Used the gun, set a couple of fires, all this kind of good stuff. So yeah, this is a fun ship, mainly because of its speed. And I am obviously now going to proceed towards the higher tiers, where I'm really excited about the AA, but we'll get there in time. For now, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.